I went in and went round all the secure wards and things like that in there as a visitor, and when I came back, the security guard was there. My car, which I'd actually left the engine running in the car because I'd done that on several occasions during the day to keep the battery charged in my mobile phone.
So your car's been parked in the nuisance centre,
with the
engine running. Have Matthew and Phil been in the car while you went to see?
But that had happened on several stages during the day because
and they hadn't taken the stuff at that point.
They hadn't taken the stuff. No.
But you've come back out from visiting. And no Matthew and Phil.
No camera, no tripod, no accessories.
Right. Great. We know where that is then. At that point, you rang the police.
Yes.
Right. At the point of ringing the police. I don't have full sight, and nor does Chris at the moment, of all of the issues and how things went and what was said and what wasn't. Those tapes are available if we need to look into them. However, to my mind, from what you've said, it's theft from a motor vehicle, we have suspects, we have evidence available, then realistically we should have had someone there at the time.
Yes.
And that hasn't happened. That, as it appears to me at the moment, I can't say definitely, but that was a mistake at the time. It should have been graded differently, and an officer should have attended. However, that hasn't happened, and we've put a report on. The operators put a report on. They've created a crime report from it. That crime report should then be allocated to an officer the next day to go on in action. The best case scenario should have been it would have been dealt with on the evening. It wasn't. The next case scenario should have been it's picked up the next morning and allocated out for action. And the fact that there's two suspects, there's outstanding property, we would expect that would get pretty...
You could have got the stuff back to me the same day if you'd been quicker.
Absolutely. And so that's there's first a missed opportunity, a mistake really. Secondly then we have a missed opportunity.
It gets worse.
What exactly? Nothing's happened on the Wednesday.
And then I rang
Nothing's
up again.
happened on the Thursday.
I rang up again when they rang from my mobile phone. Rang my mobile phone, taking the piss. And they made another call there. And my care worker
phoned you up.
Yeah, phoned me up.
The crime.
Yeah. Well, that should have been logged because my care worker at the day spoke to the police at the same time.
Right. Nothing's happened on the Wednesday, nothing's happened on the Thursday, and we are where we are now on Friday. First of all, that's unacceptable. It shouldn't have happened, and I apologise for that. What I can tell you is, it isn't an individual's fault. That's what we've been looking to see. And in terms of police complaints, I used to, in a previous time, work in the complaints department of West Yorkshire Police. You need to complain against the actions of a person to make a formal complaint.
So I think I'm one of the ones that's most at fault.
I don't think you are. No.
For trusting people, that's what people tell me.
What it does mean, however, is though you've quite rightly raised an issue whereby the quality of our service hasn't met your expectations or the expectations the Chief Constable sets out that we pledged to you. And so, first of all, thank you for coming and raising it with us. Secondly, what we need to do is, what's actually happened is, your crime report has been lost. This division at the moment is currently undergoing a bit of a change.
This always happens to me. It happened with bank accounts that I couldn't access my bank accounts.
Well, I can't believe that's twice.
Yeah.
You've got no luck. Don't buy a lottery ticket. What's actually happened is...
Well, no, I think whenever I lose at the lottery, I give my ticket away, so people probably win the following week.
Give it to me next time.
Let's see if I've got one on me.
What's actually happened is they're undergoing a change in how the department that deals with allocating the crime reports out, and your crime has sat there for about 2 days, which shouldn't happen. Chris has very kindly double checked that to work out exactly what's happened, and unfortunately it's a procedural issue. It's dropped between the gaps. It isn't acceptable. I'm more than happy to chase me. It's not acceptable, and we apologise for that.
Do you think any of this will affect my insurance?
Not in terms of if you're insured and the items have been stolen.
I've got contents insurance and I'm fully comp on the car.
If you've got insurance and the items have been stolen, you've reported it at the time, then that won't affect the insurance. Right. It's our actions rather than yours.
Because I find, you see, the worrying thing is that I have is I've suffered from prejudice because I'm old. I'm 55.
Really?
Yep.
You're looking good for 55.
It's.
I would have put you.
It's years.
40s
It's
max.
years of self-abuse and the fact that I'm a homosexual that likes younger men.
That's good exercise. The
keeps your mind off reality.
What I would say is, as I say, we are where we are. There has been an issue which isn't acceptable.
Yeah.
What we need to do now is we need to try and capture the evidence from you, and then act on it from there. Well, we'll need a statement from you also, and I would hope that Chris can arrange that with one of his staff.
Yeah.
What is your current situation? You mentioned you've been in the Newsom Centre and that
there
you are
voluntarily.
vulnerable.
Now the interesting thing is...
Are you still a voluntary patient?
I'm a voluntary patient. Now the interesting thing is that I've gone to parties and I've got pissed off by people saying, let's get some cocaine.
Yeah.
And it ruins the atmosphere at a party. I'm not... Spliff, I'm a bit like that. My friend who's got MS, she is... campaigned for the use of cannabis as a medicinal use, basically, and she has a thing called Sativex, and she's off her tits every day, but she's trying to walk again. Cocaine, on the other hand, I did cocaine in the 80s, and it was good, but when I've been to parties, and people have got this shit that people sell from Dan the Man who'll deliver for 30 and stuff like that, the interesting thing is that by grinding up a mixture of nicotine tablets, Energy Extra, which is glucose and caffeine, and you snort it. For me, that gives exactly the same effect as the cocaine that I had in the 80s.
You be careful with that stuff, won't you? Mr.
The good
Dodd,
thing is
that
you don't need much of it. I had some this morning before coming out.
Currently, do you have a care worker of your own?
Yeah.
Do you have an allocated worker?
It changes on a daily basis.
So will you have one today at the
I was
Newsom
on my way to the Newsom Centre. She's called Emily.
Emily. Will Emily be working now?
Yeah.
The reason I'm asking is that does Emily have a second name?
They don't use the second names.
Ooh. I'm Steve Emmett. I'm more than happy to tell you that.
She is... Oh, I'm on a friend. You don't know someone called Bob Emmett, do you?
My father, but you won't know him.
Where are you from originally?
Back in Newcastle.
Oh, I'm a posh Geordie too.
Never.
I was born in Concert.
That's not posh Geordie. Sunderland.
I was raised in Burnfield.
I know Burnfield well. I've got.
My dad was a coal miner.
Oh, right. What
my mum and dad met in the same mine.
Yeah. In terms of getting a statement from you, Mr. Dodd.
Yeah.
We need to just ensure that we comply with the law. I don't want one of Chris's staff to take a statement from you and then have it kicked out because we should have had an appropriate adult present.
Yeah.
That would be wholly inappropriate even, and would add to the events already in this matter. So if I'll ask Chris just to contact Emily and just work out whether or not what her professional view is on whether or not you need a professional with an appropriate adult with you prior to giving a statement. You certainly don't come across like that, but
no, I wouldn't have thought so.
It's a legal matter that we need to cover because otherwise your statement would effectively invalidate any criminal proceedings we took from that point if we don't get it right.
Okay.
So if you could bear with us for 10 minutes whilst Chris makes that inquiry and finds an officer, and if we need to, I mean, the Newsom Centre's only across the road. I'm sure the officer could go across the road and use one of the appropriate adults there if needs be.
I'll tell you another interesting little story.
Go on.
The reason that this whole thing has happened is because I got on Points of View complaining about a television programme where the BBC were lying about the details of a film trip in Siberia, because they said that this was the first time these people had been filmed. And I saw a little reindeer herder sat behind the presenter flying out to Siberia last year, who we'd filmed in 1990 because I lived in Siberia. This old puff lived in Siberia for 3 months, temperatures down to minus 40, and what the guy who was then just a little reindeer herder is now a fixer for various television shoots. But not only that, it gets
not good for you.
I hardly watch it. I only watch it when I'm on it, so I can complain about it.
That's the way forward.
So I do exercise, and anyway, that got into Points of View, and I didn't even have to go to the studio. I just pointed the camera at myself in my living room and got on Points of View, and then put it on the BBC website, and I put the link to a 10-minute film that shows people how to make cheaper drugs now. Shameless. Frank
I don't
Gallagher.
wish to discuss how to make drugs with you, Mr. Dodd. If you could bear with us,
but it could save you a lot of hassle if people didn't use if they use naturally or freely available ingredients rather than
Will you
crack
have a
cocaine.
contact number for them, a direct
TF4. It's on the phone. I'll have to switch it off to get it.
Is that alright?
Yeah, please.
I can get a number for